Sheikh, at schools you have two specific subjects that we feel is a bit problematic for Muslims. One of them is music class, where you have to study music and listen to music, play guitars, etc., and musical instruments. And it's also about physical education. When it comes to physical education, men and women are having physical education together, and it might be even touching each other and dressing in a very inappropriate way. And sometimes it's also swimming. So all of this, and this, men and women, they have to swim together. And even if it's separated, usually there will be a teacher who can watch them swimming. So how would you advise? Should Muslims take these subjects, or should they completely skip them and fail these classes, or how do we solve this issue?
Yeah, okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This is a common question, or these are common questions. First of all, I would like to emphasize on a fact that I always mention, that I am answering questions for Muslims in non-Muslim countries. Okay? When I answer questions in English, I'm not answering those questions, okay, for Muslims in Muslim countries. Now, having said that, we should recall the fact that we Muslims in non-Muslim countries are facing abnormal situations. Yeah? Abnormal situations. That's why even now there are many conferences that talk about fiqh of minorities. Fiqh of minorities, it doesn't mean that we have different type of fiqh. No. It is the fiqh of those Muslims who are living as minorities, okay? And because they are facing abnormal situations, and Islam is not the dominant system, so they can't refer to Islam, or they can't complain to the government, okay, that rules by Islam, okay, or to the judiciary that rules by Islam. It is not there, okay, as it is unfortunately the case in many Muslim countries. So in that situation, we have to remember that many things cannot be applied as a matter of black and white. So there are general guidelines to be followed here. Okay? First of all, the most important guideline is fear Allah as much as you can. فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. And the person is commanded to try his best to fear Allah as much as he can. If he done that, and there are things are beyond his ability, okay, then he is excused. And this rule, which is fear Allah as much as you can, is, subhanallah, is a very powerful tool. Because if I say to you, for example, attending mixed schools, and I said, because of darura, and because there is no other alternative, and because you have to go for you have to educate yourself, you can't lose education, and so on, so forth, so on, so forth, because of this and that and this and that, it is permissible. Yeah? What will happen? It will happen, you will take it easily, and you will not try to improve the situation. Okay? You will not try to improve the situation. Even if there are situations where you can avoid them, haram situations that you can avoid them, khalas, in your perception, I gave you an open check, it is permissible. And that's why this is wrong. And I advise our scholars and muftis to be careful of this, not to give an open check that it is halal because of darura. Yeah? No. What we should say is fear Allah as much as you can. It goes back to your consciousness. It goes back to your taqwa. Yes? And that's why we see that the Quran is relying on taqwa in many things. In the middle of أحكام الطلاق, Allah جل وعلا says واتقوا الله يا أيها النبي إذا طلقتم النساء فطلقوهن لعدتهن وأحصوا العدة واتقوا الله ربكم. Yes, in the middle of some rulings regarding talaq. In Surah Al-Baqarah, many ayat that talk about talaq, yes, واتقوا الله. Or the ayat is giving the Wallahu Sami'un Alim, that be careful, Allah knows you, Allah hears you, okay, knows what you are doing, and so on. Okay, what does that mean? It means that you need to try your best and fear Allah as much as you can. This is the general ruling. Sometimes you might skip the lesson, yeah, completely. In number of countries, not number of countries, I don't remember the country that I was asked the similar question or a similar question about dancing classes. And they said, you can fail them. If you fail them, nothing will happen. And some parents said, we prefer to fail them. Yeah, because we prefer that our children fail them, because the child is dancing next to another child from the opposite gender. Yeah, and they are dancing in a special clothes, which is quite very strange. If that is the case, I told them, yes, if that is the case, then just fail them, don't attend. Okay, and so on. So that is the general guideline. And obviously, there is a difference between, for example, music and another type of music. There is a difference between free mixing with the opposite gender, or I don't like to use the word free mixing with the opposite gender, and mixing another type of mixing with the opposite gender. There are different types. You can't just generalize it. I haven't seen it, and there are different circumstances. I'll give you an example. One time, some brothers, good brothers, they asked me about they started a small organization, and they want to employ a sister that works in their office. Okay, and they said we in order to avoid constant mixing with her, because obviously one brother or two brothers will be working in the office for 8 hours, 5 days, and the sister will be working in that small office as well. So I said to them, I need to see the office. Yeah. And when I saw the office, it is obvious. I said, how can you imagine that the sister will feel comfortable to work while two brothers, are almost watching her 8 hours a day? Yeah. And how, even if she wears niqab, the way the setup is there, they will be constantly looking at her. She will not feel comfortable to start with. So there are different circumstances. We can't, generalizing something is difficult, but you can give a guideline. So the main guideline is fear Allah as much as you can. Sometimes you can leave the class completely. Sometimes you can go to another school. Sometimes you do little bit, and so on. Okay? Now, having said that, for me, the key thing, my dear brothers and sisters, is why do we just see? This is my point. Why do we accept that this is in the norm and we should fit into the norm? Why shouldn't we try to change the norm? Yes? And as I always say that if we believe that we are, for example, British Muslims or Norwegian Muslims or Danish Muslims, European Muslims, then our countries should cater for our needs. This is the bottom line. We should not say, well, see, this the background of this question is you feel that this school has a system and you have to conform into the system because it is imposed upon you. imposed upon you means in your background you are not part of it, and you don't want it to cater for your needs because you are part of that country. You are asking how to fit into it, not how to change it. Why to change it? Because if I am part of it, the system should cater for my needs, should cater for my identity, should cater for my children. This is the way how to look at it. Many people are talking about obeying the law of the land. Yes, obeying the law of the land. See, we have to obey the law in general, because breaking the law does not help me, does not help anyone. Yes, and it will create a civic chaos. But why don't we say that the law of the land should take into consideration my needs as part of the land? I am part of the land. I am part of the law. So the law should not be an external law imposed on me. I should be part of that. So I should be part of making the law. Yes? Okay? So, if we start looking at these things as Muslims, my dear brothers and sisters, if we start looking at these things from this perspective, many things will change. Yeah? Which means we will be more involved. We will be more active. We will be more confident. Yes? And we will not feel inferior. We will not feel that we are begging for our rights. Okay? I hope that it is clear, inshallah. Jazakum Allah khairah. Barakallah fikum. Salam alaikum.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Just to clarify, could you please mention some more of the specific guidelines, whether what is, in terms of what is allowed, in terms of the physical activities, music classes and swimming classes? Can we have physical contact with the other gender? Can we compromise our clothing, etc.? Or what exactly should we do? Can we dance? Can we swim with short clothes, or even look at other people when they have short clothes on?
Okay. Yes. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah. First of all, as we have said, the general guideline is fear Allah as much as you can. Fattaqullaha mastata'tum. Then see, there are certain things that we must avoid. We can't do them. For example, if the class requires that the boy dances with the girl, yeah, is it allowed? Obviously it is not allowed, and we should avoid it. We should not do it. We should not do it. It is clear. Why? Because in of itself has number of haram things. Yeah, this is the dabit. In of itself has number of haram things. It has touching, the touching element, the moving the body in a very fitna way, in a very provocative way on the other side. Okay, along, if there's, especially if there is music, obviously as if you are recalling the shaitan, okay, to cause fitna between both of you, and so on and so forth. In fact, we don't need to list the adilla or why this act can be haram. It is clear, and hence that should be stopped, or that should not be done under any circumstance. Now, not only that, but see, if you do it, then others will do it as well, and they will use this as an excuse. The school will use this as an excuse to do it with other Muslims, and then they will say, but other Muslims do agree to do this. So that's why we say, no, don't do it. Moreover, apart from the haram that in the action itself, it leads to a bigger haram. Now, don't tell me that a boy who is 14, 15, dancing next to a sister who is 14, 15, don't tell me that this will not affect them. Don't tell me that the boy will not have a sexual desire towards that lady or to any other sister. Don't tell me that. So such actions that have direct haram in it and it will lead to a bigger haram, those actions should not be done under any circumstance, even if you need to fail the class. Yeah, if they say, well, if you don't do this dancing with the opposite gender, you will fail the class. Fail it. Okay, what can you do? This is an example. So you should avoid touching. You should avoid also wearing revealing clothes. So in swimming classes, we know about this. Some girls are required to wear bikini or very revealing clothes. So don't do that. And the parents should tell their children not to do that. Now, see, in swimming classes, they will be wearing like this. Okay, girls who are 13, 14 wearing bikini in front of the opposite gender. This is very problematic. So you should avoid it. You should not do that. Okay, and moreover, if girls got used to it, then they will get used to it even when they become older. Okay, so you should not do that. Same thing if they are playing and touching each other in swimming classes. Yeah, imagine a boy who is 14 with a girl who is 14 or 13. They are playing together while they are semi-naked. What will happen between them? And we know, and you know, everyone knows that this leads to fitna, this leads to attachment between both of them. That's why in such circumstances or such environments there is a lot of zina taking place and so on. Okay? Also, in some other physical activities like football, etc., you don't need to be active in such games where you are going to touch the opposite gender. Yeah, and you can just try, as we said, try to fear Allah as much as you can. If you can't do it, if you can't stop it or you can't avoid it, then don't have an active part in it where you are going to touch the opposite gender or you become in contact with the opposite gender. Also, you know, sometimes in swimming, in swimming classes, they have to change in front of each other. Okay, no, don't do that. This is not allowed. Okay. Sometimes they have to take showers, although the same gender has to take a shower, okay, among themselves. But some countries, I think, I'm not quite sure of this, some countries may ask the students or the pupils to take showers while they are naked. Even that is not allowed, even in front of the same gender. Yeah, so don't do that again. And as we said about music classes, then see, don't be a very active member in the music classes. Okay, do the minimum that makes you either pass or just finish this course. Okay, because you don't want to be involved heavily in the haram thing. As we said, fear Allah as much as you can. Okay, fear Allah as much as you can, and this is between you and Allah Jalla wa Ala. But these are some general guidelines. Inshallah, you can apply them. We also said that, see, sometimes these classes might not fail you. Okay, sometimes those classes might affect your grades. Okay, that's fine, but try to do good in other grades. Yeah, or in other subjects. Once you do good in other subjects, this will compromise the less achievement that you have in these classes. Inshallah, that will be enough. And as we said, the key thing is we as Muslims should demand that the law caters for our needs, because we are part and parcel of Britain, of Norway, Denmark, of Europe. That is the key point. جزاكم الله خيرا. السلام عليكم.